guys, I'm Timoncello. I just want to make a few words to introduce myself before we go deep into my project. So I'm a producer, I'm a DJ, and I was a drummer. I started making music, playing drums when I was younger for 10 years in jazz music, and then I moved into electronic music, and this song progressive house and dance music in general. So I hope you will enjoy the video. If you have any questions about anything, just ask me and I will reply in the comments as soon as possible. If you need and if you want to listen to the song before we go deep into the project, you can just check it on SoundCloud, Spotify, all platforms. Just look for Timoncello Connections and you will find me. So this is it. I hope you will enjoy the video and let's go straight into the project now. Hey guys, so we are in my Connections project. So I use Ableton Live. I hope you are familiar with it. If not, don't worry. The software is not important. It's not important. What matters is your music. Anyway, let's talk about the ID. Where I find the ID. Everything came from this sample of the subway of Paris. So let's just have a look to it. So it's quite nothing, but it changed the game for me. So just a little story about that. I was hanging out in Paris with some friends, and we were going through the city, taking the subway as usual, and I came back home and I just put some samples. This one is coming from the sample library from Kashmir. You can find it in Splice. So I put this sample, I looped it the same as is here, and the ID came just after this day of hanging and going through the streets in Paris. So I don't know why inspiration came like that. Creativity sometimes it's something strange, but going around through Paris streets, that gave me the ID. So the ID basically is this piano. I put that one sample, then the chords came naturally. Those chords. And then I added the melody, so you can see it's in a different channel. But it's the same, the same piano playing. So here it is. This is the ID. One sample, and then my inspiration came out by itself. So now let's move into the second section. So what about my signature? My signature for this song, I think it's this melody and the piano itself. I think it's very, very, very interesting. This is the most interesting of the sound. I think all the story is coming from this. I find it really nice. So this is actually the signature song. And the second is really nice as well. And there's a lot of dynamics in here. But not also. There are all the sounds I really like. And sorry, let's go there on the breakdown. Next section I will talk about my working flow and why I'm working like that, but just for now, this I call it warnings. So let's just have a listen to it. Quite nothing, but they really give something much better. I mean, some atmosphere. With everything playing together, it sounds like that. This is the breakdown. This is without. It's missing something with. Let's do the same for the second. Without and with. So I think it's adding a lot of atmosphere and feelings to the song. I have another, I think, signature song. This is these are my synths, and I really like to play with arpeggiators. So first, over here during the first introduction, they are ordered, stepped, coming, from nothing. This is the build up. And here we go for the drop. So this is the first part. Then I use it again in the build-up, in the breakdown, but in a different way. Here, let's just have a yes. So they are going up and down in one way altogether. Then during the second drop, it's the same. They are going up like that. So altogether, it sounds like that. So first part is the R part going up and then just going down. But they are the same. Okay, so this was, I think, the great sounds of my song. Let's move again into the third sections. So now I'm gonna show you how I work and I organize my project. Quite every project are organized like that. You can see already that I like to work in a pretty organized workflow, because I have like so many channels going. This is the final project and there are 88 different tracks playing together, and this is the, let's say, audio project, because the MIDI files with all the plugins, it was so much CPU consuming. So I bounced everything in audio except for the drums and the kick. So here I'm putting small section like that everywhere. I think it will help you if you're not doing that, because you know exactly where you are into the song. If I want to hear the introduction, then I want to go to the breakdown right now, and I just click to the drop. I want to hear the second drop, the end. So that's much more easier. Second thing, I group everything. So here it's a group. I will tell you more about that later, about my low. This is only my kick and the sub going all together, that's it. Then the drums with colors, samples, piano, pads, all orchestral stuff. This is another atmosphere sound I put only in the breakdown over here. But just to say, everything is quite organized with colors, with groups, so you know where you're going, and that's really make a difference when you're working, because you know, when your ideas are coming out, your creativity is at the top. You want to go so far, so fast. You want to, yes, you want to be creative. You want to jump into your project. So if you are organized, you're going faster, and you can still deal with this flow of ideas coming. So that's what's helping me to work. It doesn't have to be like that for everybody, but I think for me it's great. So that's my, let's say, all my projects are more or less like that. Now I have changed for a little bit more organization. At the end of my chain, I have this pre-master channel. So everything, all tracks, channels, every sound is going to the pre-master. And it's a channel where I do a little bit some kind of mastering, but it's not a mastering, it's still mixing, but I want to do something more before I go to mastering. So I will tell you about that later. So let's now talk about some tips and tricks about my production. I'm gonna show you something with the piano, but I'm doing with quite everything. As I told you before at the beginning, I'm using different channels for my piano. Actually, that's the same piano playing together, but the treatment, the mixing is different. Here I have my chords, and I make some treatment of it, especially the EQ. You can see over here for the introduction, quite everything is playing. This one is off, and when you take the mids, you see it's very big range for the frequencies. Then I add the melody. I want the melody to be just at the top, so my melody is playing in a different way. You're gonna see here my EQ. You see I cut it everything down. I don't need the bass. I don't need the bass line frequencies, and I want that melody to be really in the front. So altogether it sounds different if it would be in the same project, but I played it in the same MIDI file, but I want just a different treatment. This is interesting. You can do this in every different channel sounds. Then when you move into the drop, I take the same piano over here and you can hear that it's cut and very smashed with a heavy compression. So it's because simply on the drop I want another treatment. I don't want my piano to have to deal with my kick and my bass line, my sub. So I cut all the low frequencies before, I think 250 Hz. So this is a really nice tip, because you can do that for quite everything. I can show you another treatment I've made for my arps over there. That's quite the same. So I'm pretty lazy. So I have 3 arps. This one, which is in the center. Then the second one is painted a little bit on the right. And the third one, which is as well on the right. And sorry, this one was on the left. No, I've made a mistake before I freezed all the tracks. One is on the right and the other one should be on the left. Anyway, there is this one playing as well. So for the breakdown I did the same. The same instrument, but I changed channel to make a different treatment. For this one, here, a little bit more low are playing over here. And if you're going there, I did the same for those ones on the second drop. So that's it. Another trick is very important, is you have to pan your instruments. As I said before, I want this one here at the beginning. Sorry. To be this one I want in the center. Another one much more on the right. This one much more on the left. So your sounds is sounding bigger like that. And after that, I am treating my synths and my group all together as one. So basically on my single channel I put generally an EQ, and that's it. You can see it's only EQ. Sometimes if I want something special like a delay to make it more wide, I can do it straight on the channel, but I prefer to treat all my synths, all my bass lines, all other instruments, after I'm gonna show you the pads, all together. So it sounds like one big instrument with the layers. Actually they are 3 and here they are 9, even 12, but they are the same. I'm doing the same with my pads over there. So I'm sorry, let's go here. Let's look this part. You can see there. So this one is deeply right and left. You can duplicate in Ableton the signal to make it sounds bigger. So it's half left and right. This. So this organ is straight because I want it in the front. I've write it here, and this is much more on the side, a little bit on the right. So these are single and small tricks, but they can help you. Another one I'm using for for example, my piano over here. First thing, sometimes I'm playing with, I put the dry signal coming here first, then I duplicate it, put the reverb on it, and I can play with the reverb and I have more control. Let's listen to this section. So now I put the reverb off. There's less space. It's subtle, but it's working. It's there. So you have more control than sending the dry signal on the sands. I prefer to use it like that, directly on the channel, on the group. Then something different is, I think I'm using only there on the piano. It's you have your treatment, and you add just a little bit extra top to, you want this extra click. Maybe I can show you on another, because everything is freezed, otherwise the project is gonna crash and we won't hear anything. But over here, you see on the bass line, we can see it. So the bass line is going here on my drop. I put before the reverb and the top off, so the top are here, and I'm just playing, you see, with the top frequencies, but it's giving you some extra punch. So let's solo it. It's quite nothing. Now I'm putting on, putting off. It's quite nothing. And now I'm putting the reverb on again. There are quite nothing, few tricks, but everything altogether is working well and better. So I like to do this kind of stuff for my workflow. So another question is, how can I give life to my sounds and my track? There are different sections, different things you can do. I'm gonna show you these warnings, as I call them, here in the breakdown. So the first thing is automation, volume, filters, everything. You can do directly in your plugin, but you can do after, even with your DAW, with everything. So here, very small automation, but it's giving something really interesting, and that's actually giving a lot. There is this on the reverb channel. There's this gain and utility plugin that is playing. So actually, when this sound stops, just at the end, when the release is dropping, I just give extra dB, so the sound is going up and you can hear it. I do the same, of course, with the decay of the reverb over there, and it sounds like that. On the second drop, on the second part, that's the same, and I just pitch down for something strange is happening. So I'm giving you something and you're waiting for. So that's really nice. You can do the same with filters, just at the end of the drop here, drop 1, where I have my synths playing. I have this small, is just a filter, you know, but I know it's there, and at the end it's coming. Look, you can hear it. It wasn't this one, it was another one on my channel, because my channel is very big. Many plugins and things are going on, so I messed up a little bit, sorry guys, but I want to find it. Maybe this one. It's not, sorry, but you can find. I'm gonna find it there. Fab filter. So maybe this one. No. Anyway, you've heard it. I'm gonna play it again. The sound is just closing to the break. Let's listen all together. To make space for this bell. I like this bell on the break. Everything has to play together, and everything has to have his own place. There is something is playing during the drop, just at the second part of the drop, and I really like this sound. I'm just checking where is it, because my project is so many things all together. Sorry. Coming, but everything has the plex. Okay, those one I really like that. They remind some kind of trance music in progressive. So with is without. With again. It's really something different. So I was telling you about automation. Now you can do something different again when painting your sounds. So let's go into the drums section. So I'm gonna take my hats over there. Let's solo everything and listen to it. Okay, let's go on the hats. Here you have the MIDI. Okay, so I'm gonna take it out, the groove section, what I call groove here. It's already out. Okay, with the groove it's like that. Really nice. Let's take out the groove and just play together the hats. So actually they are 3 hats. 2 are exactly the same, those one, and this a little bit different. So what can you do to make movement to your sounds, to give something interesting? First I have this sound. So, sorry, I'm gonna start with those one, with the same. This you have a really big attack. So I have the attack. I don't want it anymore with this one, with the more open add. So what I do is on the open add, I just cut here the attack with the fade in on very easy trick from Ableton. Then this one is just I cut just straight after my attack. The second one, it's a little bit longer, but quite the same. So that's interesting. Then second thing, as a drummer would play on a real place, on a real drum, it will never kick exactly at the same place on the hats. So if you change just a little bit, you pan here, this one a little bit on the right, this a little bit on the left, and this one a little bit more on the left. When the sound is going on, there is something more interesting. That's giving groove actually and movement. If I take it out, it sounds like that. Listen. It's not very natural. So with the painting, it's a little bit, it's way more. Then you had what I call the groove. So the groove is simply a delay. This delay from waves, really nice. So you choose your delay. You have feedback. You can play with the feedback, and you can high pass, low pass, use filters, etc. So that's really nice. I just cut. I want just the extra high hands, not really the top, but just a little bit here. This one. And to make things really interesting, I just put sidechain from the hats itself, from the hats. So every time the hats are clicking, I mean they are playing, not clicking, the signal is being stopped with a very it's just a little bit of sidechain, but it matters. In this way, when here the dry signal is playing, the groove is just being sidechained, and I put the groove pretty on the right and left, just with playing with filters, and it sounds like that. I'm gonna show you something exactly the same, and maybe it's you're gonna hear more difference on my breakdown. That's the same. So I did quite the same over here with all those stuff. So this is the kick enhancer, and you play with the panning. You see, those kick enhancer are right and left. This is quite, this snare a little bit on the right, left, etc. So altogether it sounds a little bit more interesting. Then you can play with the velocity in the same way of a drummer would play on the real drums. Any real instruments you would play, you will never play exactly the same notes and at the same velocity. So that's giving groove and it's humanity. It's more human when you play like that. So it's always just a little bit more things. I mean, sorry, some few things, but altogether they are making the difference. Here, that the same with the toms. They are playing hard left and right. Listen to it with everything. It's giving something. Everything has its place, and that's really matters in music. So I really invite you guys to try it with your project, to do those small adjustments, because on small adjustments in every single channel, that's making the difference at the end. So let's now go to the last section of this tutorial. I'm gonna show you a little bit more about my mixing process and how I work. So as I told you before at the beginning, you can see I'm working with a lot of groups, as we call it. All my channels, single channels and instruments, are groups in different sections. The synths, on a way, bass lines, my plugs, pads, orchestral, everything. And I'm treating all those as 1. So, for example, I show you before my synths, they are sounding like 1, but how I do that and how can you make your sound bigger? First of all, that's a really big trick you can do in Ableton. I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna make it. So let's add a channel over here. Okay, this is an audio channel. I always have my audio at -15 just to be sure I have headroom. Then I have here my audio effects, and it's already done with the utility plugin. That's really easy trick to do. This is the mid side, so I put my mid and my sides and I treat it in a different way. Okay, so mid, you put just a utility plugin, and sounding as mid sides, you made right click over there and you click mod mid side. Then the second, exactly the same, mid side, and you put wholly to the right with the 100S. Only sides are playing there. And then that's it. On the mid you put here a mono plugin, EQ. I'm using Fab Filter, but you can do it with Ableton EQ. That's pretty. I really like Fab Filter, but even for the plugin from Ableton themselves, they are really good. I'm doing the same with here other plugin, and that's really make the difference. So I'm taking this out because I don't need it. Let's just jump into another section. I can show you very easy here. Okay, so very single treatment. Mid, I just put an EQ form. I'm here on my orchestral instruments, so let's go here and listen to it. Maybe it's better on the second, more instruments. Okay, so my mids are playing over there, and my sides have this treatment. I just put a little bit more reverb on the sides and a little bit more saturation. If I'm taking off, listen to the sound. Now the sound is more centered with those automation and this mid-side process. It sounds really, I think that's always subtle. But if you're doing with the pads and we're doing with the piano, you do with every single different instruments, that's really so. Let's take it out for the pads. And now in I found it more natural. So this is one first thing, and the second you can do with my bass. Actually, I put over here. I'm taking out the reverb and the top. It's an EQ free. Again, you can find it in Ableton. Sorry, audio. You just drag this one, EQ free here. So you have your low from 0 to 250 Hz, your mid from 250 to 2500, and your high, which is this one. So your lows are going here, so you can make a treatment. more overdrive and saturation. Then I treat my mids. I've put an amp for guitars, and my highs, which are with this delay, are really panned right and left. So listen now, together. If I put it off, that's less interesting. In, it really makes the difference. So that's a really good trick you can do. And the last one I wanted to show you is that treatment. So I made a small group with my kick over here with my sub. So here you can see 3 different subs, but they are actually the same. It's the same thing I was telling you before, just because I'm lazy and don't want to make so many different automation. So I use the same, and I make difference directly into the plugin. So that's a Serum plugin I used. So when they are playing together here at the drop, it sounds like that. And these are the most important element for dance music, and this, even if it's progressive house and really cool stuff, this sound I'm treating all together. Without, it sounds like that. With, it's really different. So what I put here is just a small compression over there, then OTT really small at the same, EQ to EQ again all together, and then the final step is this one I've learned from a master of mixing engineer and mastering. It's called Luca Pretolesi. On one of his masterclass, it was to just cut the tail here at the beginning of the kick, and at the end you just put a compression just a little bit, and then you're giving back those frequencies you just cut, but they are more clean. Let's take it out. I'm just adding now. It's quite nothing, but it's working. So this is it for this tutorial. I hope you guys enjoy, and if you have any questions, just feel free to ask me in the comments. I will be very happy to reply and to talk about that with you. If you agree, if you disagree, if you see maybe some mistakes or something different, just feel free to ask, and I'm here. I will reply as soon as I can. And thanks to everybody who watched that till the end. Thanks to my label, Groove Cartels, for signing this track. And I hope to be back soon, because I have some music which is coming. Bye bye guys, see you soon.